Namaste, everybody. It's Hasti Masti Hansi. Welcome to Hansi from Home. Today's talk is another one from season one, which is on books. So this particular book, it was recommended to me from somebody I went on a retreat with. On retreats, there is always lots of people, like-minded people, who will discuss what they've read, their journey, their personal growth, that type of thing. So, this book that was recommended to me is called "Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway." Now, this book is written by Susan Jeffers. Now, it's a fantastic book. The essence of it is basically whatever your fears are, whether it could be public speaking, it could be being alone, changing a job, starting a new business, maybe driving or ending a relationship, anything at all. Whatever your fears are, in this book, Susan speaks about, first of all, what fear actually is and why it's there. Again, inherently, everything starts inherently in how we are made as humans, and how it might have been built up in the first place. But she also then subsequently talks about what successful people do and how they handle their fears. And she also then gives practical guidance and sort of lessons, if you like, on how you can overcome those fears. So it was a good book for me personally, in the sense that I have to admit I probably didn't do a lot of the practical lessons. This is just a typical Hansi, really is better at the theory than the practical, and if there's too much homework or practicing to do, writing diaries and so on, it's not something that may always finish. However, in any book, there's always something that stays with you. And for me, in this book, basically, the page or the part where Susan speaks about successful people, it was a line which basically said, even successful people do have fears, and I thought, do they really? I mean, I always thought that successful people were successful because they've either had a better upbringing, they're just naturally more confident, their character's different, or maybe they've had a better education. All of these other reasons why I thought that people who are successful don't have any fears. But according to the author of this book, everyone does. And the difference really is that the successful person would have had a fear of something that they're doing first. Perhaps it was an entrepreneur, they had to go and do a pitch. But what the difference between that successful person and a person perhaps who procrastinates and allows their fears to stop them from doing what they really want, and then days and weeks and years go by, is that the successful person would literally have faced that fear. They would have put themselves through the physical and mental pain that goes with combating a fear. I'll give you an example. I mean, because I read the book more recently, but I was able to relate to the feelings of actually having a strong desire to do something, seeing somebody else do it and thinking, I want to do that and I want to do that well. And then going through the pain of not sleeping at night, being nervous, doing all the preparation work. It was a time for me when I experienced it, when I had to do a speech in front of a lot of people in the community, and it was one that I was doing for the first time in front of people that I'd done Seva with for around a year, and suddenly I had to stand on stage and speak to hundreds of people. Now, I really wanted to do it. That was the good thing. I had a desire to do this particular thing. I wanted to do it really well. But like I say, I before the day even came, I must have talked everything through in my mind so many times. But luckily, preparation is key. So I did do preparation. And then on the day, when I was standing there on stage, what's really funny now is I can literally dissect moment to moment um, what I was feeling physically and mentally, probably a couple of minutes before it was my turn to do my speech. Um, And it may seem obvious when you see it on TV and in cartoons, but literally, yes, people say your heart pounds, but I could feel it like thumping on me. And I thought, oh my God, this is like so strong. I mean, it felt like my heart's gonna, come out. And yes, sweaty palms and all that sort of thing. And the surprising one was my mouth was just so dry and sticky that I just thought, this is stuff you just read in books when they describe nerves. This is just something you see exaggerated in cartoons, but it doesn't really happen, but it did. I physically went through those feelings and those thoughts and those physical sensations. Um, but then, it was my turn, and I did deliver the speech. It was maybe a little bit nervous at the beginning, and once I started to flowing, it went really well. And I was just so pleased that I actually went through that pain, because ultimately, I was able to deliver something which people complimented me on. It was very rewarding, that I felt it was like mission accomplished for me. Obviously, it was never the best one I've ever done, because from then you continue and you learn from your mistakes, and you do it better the next time, and you don't have so many nerves at the second, third, and fourth time. But the point is, as this title in this book suggests, that you actually feel that fear and you go and do it anyway. So what I would say to anyone who has any sort of aspirations or desires, something that they've always wanted to do, and you're finding that it's your fear that's holding you back, fear of failing, fear about what other people will think, or any fear, please, don't let that stop you from taking the first step, because it's only the first step that will ever be that sort of difficult. And the more you do it, whatever that aspiration is, the easier it will get, and the more rewarding it will be for you. You won't regret it. That first step will lead to second steps and third steps and fourth steps into whatever aspiration that you had. And the last thing you want is to look back on your life and think, well, I wish, if I only done this, if I only did that. Because we're not born with fear. Babies don't fear walking into the street. Babies don't fear anything. They're taught fear by, sometimes obviously for the right reasons, but the point is, sometimes we've got our fears again, like everything else, from our surroundings, from our culture, from the people that we are around, or maybe a traumatic experience in childhood. But they can be overcome, is the point I'm making. So whatever it is, whatever dream that you have, Hansi is saying to you, face that fear and do it anyway. That's my message, having read this book, and I will always remember that successful people always have fears, and that's probably why they are successful, because they don't allow them to stop them from doing what they really want to do. So that's the end of today's talk on this particular book. As always, I would really like you to like and share the post, but more importantly, please comment on the talk as to what you thought of the content, what's your response to what's your responses and experiences, rather, that you had yourself when you feared something. What did you do to overcome it? Is there any similar books that you have read that you would recommend? Then please put them in the comments box. Remembering that this platform that I am doing my talks on are for caring and sharing. I'd like to build a community of people who can go to one place and read something or hear something which they will find helpful in their lives, and it will help them become the best version of themselves. So until next time, from Hansi, it is Nacho Gao Ane Hastaro, from the inside out.